Okay, day 328. Sorry about the audio issues yesterday. Let me just double check to make sure things are working today as intended. 1 second, everybody. Don't want to make the same mistake as yesterday. Home. Kent. Audio issues yesterday. Let me just double check. All right. Audio's working. So let's do this. Today we're looking at 35208. Gonna run the zip code back. This is in right about a little bit southwest of Birmingham. Again, I'm looking at this area a lot because my properties are near here. So I'm paying very close attention because I want to see what 4-bedrooms are going up for, because I just converted a 4-bedroom home from a 3-bedroom. That will allow me to potentially have more BRRRR options, right? If I force enough value into my property, then potentially there is a chance where I can take back out all the capital that I invested in here. So this property is a 4-bed, 2-bath, 2,701 square feet, listed for $170,000. So let's kind of put this in here, $170,000. This property it's decent condition. The kitchen is definitely a little tired. I mean, it's got that stovetop. I don't think you need to do much of the flooring. Maybe you want to refinish it, but I'm definitely going to have enough room to paint the entire place, make it a little bit brighter. And if I don't need to repaint the entire place, then I at least have some budget for some cosmetic fixes to refinish the home, etc. So I'm going to go to my rehab calculator spreadsheet. Just how much square feet? 2,701 square feet. I'm going to go here. I'm going to usually leave aside about $1,500 for the roof. I got $500 for the landscaping. I got $287. So that's going to be roughly 2,701. It's 2,701. Sand and refinish, hard floor flooring. Probably do about half the square foot. It goes 2,700 divided by 2. I'm doing that because just in case some of the flooring looks a little tired, I got enough budget in here. So that gives me probably enough budget here with 2 high pressure flush toilets. Yep, 2 bathrooms, 2 high pressure flush toilets, so I can prevent any clogs. So I got $20,000 just in case I have any rehab needs. Now, I need to get my rents. So in order to get my rents next, I need to look up HUD FMR. HUD FMR stands for fair market rents. That's what FMR stands for. We're going to click on the first link. And then from there on, we're going to come down here. We're going to click on access to small area FMRs. The fair market rents has actually been updated within a week and a half ago now, I think. And we have the 2025 rents here. So now you are kind of ahead of the curve, right? This only just came out a week ahead, but it doesn't mean that the market rents caught up. So let's go ahead and see what the 2025 fair market rents are. And we'll look for 35208. And now you're going to see by bedroom count, by zip code, what your rent ceiling is. And right now this is 1420 and 1580. So I have 1420 and 1580. I'm just going to write these numbers down. I was looking at a property from 35208 yesterday, so I already have these numbers. All right, so now yesterday, I said the rents were above 1,400. Let's see if that holds true. So when I put in 953 43rd place, 4-bedroom, I'm going to click right here. Right now, the average rent on this side of 35208 within a 2.1 mile radius, the average rent is $1,350. Okay, it's not too far off from where I was yesterday, but you can kind of see that there's a little bit of fluctuation as you move from one side to the other. So let's do $1,350 for this property. And when I compare the rent for the market at $1,350 with the rent ceiling at $1,580, I have to use the lower rent of the two because that is the more reasonable rent. Now, reasonableness isn't just a term I made up. If you go to the Housing Choice Voucher Program Guidebook, and this is it right here, HCV stands for Housing Choice Voucher, which was previously known as the Section 8 program. They rebranded from Section 8 to Housing Choice Voucher because of all the negative connotations that used to be associated with Section 8. So now they call it Housing Choice Voucher. So in Section 2.2 of this guidebook, it says that in conducting rent reasonableness, the PHA, or the Public Housing Authority, that's what it stands for, and they're the ones that kind of administers all of the Section 8 vouchers, they must determine whether the rent to the owner is a reasonable rent in comparison to rent for other comparable unassisted units. So obviously size, unit type matters, but when you look at this property and you see that these are all 4-bedroom properties, could the other properties be smaller? Yeah, they could be. But at the same time, you're also looking at 25, probably 4-bedroom homes, because typically you don't see 4-bedroom apartments being built. So I have pretty high confidence that the 4 bedrooms here are related to single family homes, thus giving me the confidence to use this as my more reasonable rent, and hence why I'm using $1,350 and not $1,580, because the $1,580 probably also includes some sort of utilities included in that amount, right? So the next thing, now that I got my rents, I'm gonna go down to my other expenses and taxes and insurance. I'm scrolling down this property, just get the taxes right here. It says $82 is the estimated taxes. And then my homeowner insurance is $132. So I'm going to equals 132 times 1.2. I'm multiplying by 1.2 because I'm adding a 20% premium to the insurance estimate. Typically, when you see that there is a insurance estimate on somewhere such as REDFIN, that typically is for a home where they're probably calculating that or estimating that you're living there as a primary residence. When you live there as an investment property, what you will see is that the insurance companies will view that home as a more risky asset. So they're going to charge you more premium. So that's why I'm adding a 20% premium, just so I could be a little bit more conservative in my estimates. The last thing I would want to do, obviously, is what? Overestimate my profitability because I underestimated my expenses, right? That's just lying to myself. So that goes true for my next expense, which is my maintenance and my war chest. I'm setting aside 10% of my rent every single month for repairs. Can't make this up. I literally just had a roof leak yesterday at another home in Scottsdale. And I literally just spent about $5,000 on the property replacing the air conditioners and not have a roof leak, right? So when it rains, it pours, right? So for you to imagine that you don't need any sort of repairs, that's just unrealistic. So I got $135 every single month for that. I got 10% for my maintenance. My property management expenses. And I got 5% for my vacancy because someone always moves out eventually. I'm just being conservative here. So there's going to be empty months where you're not making any money. All right. So now I got a down payment percentage in F19 of 25%. So my E19 is going to equals to my asking price in B4 multiplied by my down payment percentage of 25% in F19. That gives me $42,500. I'm setting aside 2.5% for my closing costs. And I'm also including my $19.7 of repairs and renovations as part of my cash and cash return. So that's right here. For me to figure out how much am I financing, I'm going to go to K6 and I'm going to equals B4, which is my asking price, minus E19, which is my down payment percentage. And that's going to give me a total financing amount of $127.5K. At 8% interest, I'm just going to put in a random date here of July 30th, just so I can get it closer to the amortization schedule. But all in all I'm trying to figure out right now is whether or not this deal is worth my time to send a contractor out there to figure out whether or not I want someone to take photos for me and give me a bid for any renovations, right? So if this is my estimate right now, watch what my cash and cash return is. It's negative 2.9%, 95%. And so if I rent this out as a 4-bedroom property for $1,350, I'll be negative cash flow, $162 a month. That's a negative 3% return, assuming I bought this property at $170,000 with a $19,700K rehab with 25% down and 8% interest. Now, watch what happens as I lower my asking price. So watch what happens to this cash and cash return as I lower it. Because now I'm trying to figure out, hey, what purchase price do I need to buy this property at to make this a deal, quote unquote? Obviously, this is not investment advice. We're not soliciting any investments on this call. Simply showing you all the work that I do every single day so that I can eliminate the need for involving too much emotions, right? If you keep it focused on the numbers, which is sometimes the hardest thing to do, this is how you stay consistent. So if I lower this to $100,000, now all of a sudden I'm at 5.6%. If I go to $80,000, now I am almost at 10%. So if I can buy a property that looks like this property that might have required $19,700, and my down payment is 25%, and I'm still paying 8% interest on this property, and I can rent out for $1,350. Now all of a sudden I can cash out $332 on this deal, and that would make it a 9.6% return, which is much closer to my required return of 10%. Now, right now you are estimating at 19 grand. What if you grossly overestimated this, right? What if you didn't know what you're doing and you said, hey, if I send a contractor out there and give me a much better bid, how much am I willing to pay for it? So let's half this amount. So instead of 19 grand, I divide the B6 by 2, and now watch what happened to my cash and cash. It went up to 12.5%, which means I have a little bit more room to pay. So if I go back to 90 grand for this property, now this is still a deal, right? I can pay 10 grand more because somehow my rehab got half. So in this scenario, I'm still renting out for $1,350, right? Everything else is staying constant. I'm at $277 of cash flow a month, and now I am at 9.6% return again. Purchase price is $9,800, and the rehab number right now is going to be $9,800. And I bought this and I'm buying this property, for $90,000. Putting the right scenario here, 20% down and 8% interest rate. Now we're going to do one more scenario. Watch what happens to my cash and cash return. Because remember what happened, right? Let's all make sure we're on the same page. I just halved my rehab. I just increased my purchase price by 10 grand, and it's still a deal. But what if the interest rates just drop, right? Because today the Fed Reserve said or signaled that they are much more likely to lower the interest rate. So if it goes down from 1 point, from 8 to 7%, my cash on cash return just jumped to 11.2. So now I might be willing to pay 95 grand for this property instead of 90. So can you see what just happened to the sensitivity, right? When the interest rate dropped by 1% to 7, I can now pay $5,000 more for the property, assuming everything else stayed constant, and still make a 10% return on my money. So this is something that you just got to do a lot of practice, but then also understand just how and why you're manipulating the assumptions in your deal to make it a deal. In this scenario, it's just 7%. So all these 3 scenarios could work, right? They're all 10% return. They just had a different purchase price or a different set of terms or a different interest rate even. That made it a deal. All right. Hopefully this was helpful. If you guys ever want a copy of the spreadsheet, please go ahead and go to affordablehousing.io. And you go to our website, you click on the Get Deal Analysis tool, put in your name, your email, your phone number, and that's the fastest way for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. All right. I didn't make a spreadsheet from scratch. I'm simply got a few spreadsheets from a few other folks, and I combined it and I modified it, and that's it. You don't have to do everything from scratch. If there's a shortcut, if someone's showing you a shortcut, please take it. All right. If you guys want to check out our latest podcast episode, please check it out with Ashley. Ashley has over 10 years of development experience. She's going to be great to listen to and hear from about just exactly how do you apply someone with 10 years of experience of knowledge and how you can better prepare for the issues that are going to come up during your development deal. All right. Have an amazing Friday, everybody. Hope you all spend some quality time with your family and friends today. That's what life is all about. All right. I am out of here. Have an amazing Friday, everybody. I'll be back.